boys and girls, it's Mrs. Gollenstein, and today for our geography lesson, we are going to be describing places on Earth's surface using geographic vocabulary. So we'll learn that new word here in just a minute. But first, I want to ask you a math question. In math, geometry, when we learn about 3D shapes, we learn about something like this. It looks like a basketball, or a kickball, or even a globe. What's the word? It's rounded, it's circular. It's called a sphere. S-P-H-E-R-E. Sphere. And that is what is going to help us learn our new geography vocabulary. Imagine taking this sphere and cutting it in half. It's called a hemisphere. So today we're going to learn about different hemispheres on the Earth's surface, and we're going to describe locations according to their hemisphere. There are two imaginary lines that you also need to be familiar with in order to learn the different hemispheres. So the first one I want to show you is going east and west around the middle of the Earth. Now this is an imaginary line. It's not really on the ground, but we put it on globes and on maps to help us learn about the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. This imaginary line is called the equator. The equator. So the equator runs east and west around the middle of the Earth. Everything above the equator is in the northern hemisphere, and everything below the equator is in the southern hemisphere. Now, another important line I want to tell you about is called the prime meridian. The prime meridian is very similar to the equator, except it runs north and south. And it's right over here. It runs north and south, and it cuts the Earth in half. We would divide the Earth into the eastern and western hemispheres. So your prime meridian runs north and south. Everything on this side is the eastern hemisphere. Everything on this side is the western hemisphere. If you look at a map or a globe on your own and you can find the compass rose, it will remind us which direction is which. Let's look at this map here. The equator runs east and west, and it divides the Earth into the northern and southern hemispheres. The prime meridian is a line that runs north and south, and it divides the Earth into the eastern and western hemispheres. Where do you live? You can see North America is in the northern hemisphere, while also being in the western hemisphere. See if you can describe some other locations based on their hemispheres. Good luck!